Have you ever contemplated suicide? I know I have, and in this episode, I'm going to share my story and give you something that could help prevent suicide in your life. Hello and welcome back to Rainbow Hilton, the podcast that helps lost and lonely gay youth slay suicide. Have you ever contemplated suicide? I know I have, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. 45% of LGBTQ youth have contemplated suicide. 45%. That's almost half. And do I have a story to share around my contemplations of suicide and attempts? I'm going to share a story with you, one of the many, during a time that my heart broke. I was a theater kid. I was in my first theater production at 4th grade, and I was in The King and I found who I was in being somebody else. I didn't know that at the time, but I loved theater because it was my safe space. And I was in every show, community theater, high school theater. In 9th grade, I was finally in high school. And Romeo and Juliet was the production. Side note, I don't like Shakespeare. I know that now. In that moment, as a theater kid, I felt like I was forced to like Shakespeare, like it was the show that everyone was waiting to be in. So the cast list gets posted and everyone's gathering around and everyone knows I'm going to be Romeo because it's the lead. I actually wanted Mauricio, the sidekick. And I ran my finger down the cast list and I wasn't on it. And I was surrounded by all the theater people and I didn't let them support me. I ran my finger down that list and I didn't see myself on it, and I sat there for seconds of shame, and then I bolted. I left. And at that time, I was on antidepressants, and suicide wasn't new to me. And I had time to think about it. And since my chance of being a star, and now in retrospect, it's so silly, it was Romeo and Juliet, a high school play, but in the moment when I was in high school, it was my chance to make it. And since I failed at that, I wanted to just end my life. And now it seems so insignificant, but in the moment, it was worthy of me taking every pill of my antidepressant. And as soon as the last pill went down my throat, I instantly changed my mind. And my mom, as great as she is today, she was a hardworking single mother. And I went to wake her up to tell her to bring me to the hospital. And she screamed at me. And she was like, "Do you know how much that medication costs?" And I was like, "Are you, the cost? My dreams just got shattered. Fuck you." And I bolted. And outside of our apartment, there was a field. And I ran in that field as fast as Forrest Gump did in that movie. And I was going to die in that field. And I knew it. And then I hit a wall. I kid you not. It was an invisible wall that landed me on my ass, and it stopped me and said, "Go back." And I didn't understand it at the time, and I'm so grateful that I listened. But I went back, and I got my mom out of bed, and she was not happy about it. And she took me to the hospital. And instead of what I needed, now I know, what I needed in that moment was a hug and some comfort. What I needed to do in that moment when I realized my name wasn't on the cast list is to turn around to the other people that weren't on the cast list, because the director for that show decided that Romeo and Juliet should be all new people. So not only did I let myself down and took an egotistical, selfish move of trying to take my life, I left all my people standing there, not on the list either. And it wasn't a thought in my mind because I was only thinking about me because I thought no one else was. But if I was me now, and I ran my finger down that cast list, I'd be like, they're missing out, honey. I would have been the best Mauricio. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't me, so I could have done it better. And then I would have turned around and I would have embraced my people and I would have cried with them. And then we would have went out for a dinner or Subway or something, wherever we hung out at the time, Godfathers. And we would have been upset and we would have been pissed off at the director for making the choice of our freshman year. They're going to allow other people into our space. That's not the way to do it. Roger Chin, I remember this, got Romeo. He deserved it. He was so great in it. Thanks, Roger, for stepping up. And he turned into a theater guy. I don't know where he is now. I'm going to look him up after this. But the point is, if you think about suicide, say it out loud. Who are your people? And if you don't have any people, call me. I'll be your person. The Trevor Project, they have people. You are not alone. And that's what I needed to hear when I ran my finger down that list. So, as you can see, this is real for me. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think about what it was going to feel like when I thought of that memory. Or the fear that came back into me of like having to go into my mom's room and wake her up and say, take me to the hospital after she yelled at me for wasting all of her money. The other thing that I didn't bring out is my hospital time. They made me throw up. They made me drink charcoal. They put me in a padded room. And all I needed was a hug. All I needed was someone to say, hey, Tony, you're okay. You're going to make it. It's just Romeo and Juliet. There's other shows. You are a star. You'll always be a star. That's what I'd say to him today. That's what I needed in the moment. So that's what I'm going to tell you. You are a star. You're here powerfully on purpose. Suicide is never the answer. It's the only thing I failed at. And I want you to fail at it too. So, thank you for being on this journey with me. I'm letting it all hang out. And I just really need you to know that you're never alone. And I'm serious. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. The Trevor Project is here for you. There are people that are here from you. And if sometimes you have to choose your own family. And that's okay. I'll be your family.